Yo, today I want to talk about anxiety. Remember to subscribe and like this video because I said so. I just made this video, but I'm redoing it. So, yesterday I went and did something that I wouldn't normally do. I didn't think about it. I didn't dwell. I didn't, worry or let anxiety consume my thoughts to the point where I just don't do it. I just went and did it anyway. And after I completed it, after I did what I did, I started having anxiety about what I just did. Instead of having anxiety about what I want to do and letting it hold me back, I now had the same anxiety, the same thoughts I would have had if I hadn't done it yet. I had the same exact thoughts, but now it's in a form of being past tense. That now I did this thing, what if this happens? And there's two things actually. The first thing is that this is actually kind of normal, where you did a thing and now you're worried about what's going to happen. That's kind of normal, actually. What's not normal is thinking about doing the thing and then worrying about what's going to happen because you haven't done it yet. And that's what a lot of anxiety really boils down to, is what happens if you do something instead of doing something and then worrying about what happens because you did it. But also, I realized because it was the same exact thoughts that I would have had if I hadn't done it yet, I know there were the same thoughts I would have had, that now that I did it, what if this happened? I realized that you can't really escape anxiety. You can't just wish it away. But what you can do is the same thing that I suggested in my previous video about self-hate and negative self-talk, where you think, like, I hate myself, I'm boring, I suck, or whatever. And a really good solution to that is to flip the perspective to a positive one and say, no, I don't suck, I'm an awesome person. I don't hate myself, I love myself, and so on. You could do the same thing with anxiety. So, for example, and you have to be aware, you have to pinpoint the thought instead of just letting the thoughts go fucking nuts. You have to actually be conscious of what you're thinking about. But once you are, and you're like, what if this thing happens? Flip the perspective, the frame of reference, over to a positive one. And that would encourage you actually to want to do it more. So you could think, what if, I don't know, just an example. What if I go and talk to this person? What happens? What if they hate me? What if they don't like me? What if they want to punch me? Just flip the frame of reference over to a positive one and think, what if I really like this person? What if we get along? What if she tells me a funny joke? What if, I don't know, so on and so forth. That's a way to, I guess you could say, escape anxiety, but more so to just kind of balance it out. And also encourage yourself to do the thing anyways if you haven't done it yet. And if you have done it, then what I did was similar, but it was more towards focusing on the good things that could happen because of it. Rather than, I mean, it's the same concept, but it's about the present future. From a place of present to future rather than, I don't know, like future to future. And I've felt weird ever since I did the thing, and then I guess you could say conquered my anxiety. I've felt it's almost hard to put into the right words, but it's like a stillness, like a calm, like I guess when you're in a bath or a pool, and if you ever tried to do this, you like still your breathing to the point where you're not making ripples in the water and the water calms. It's a similar feeling to that, but it's like in the soul. And also, I identified something else in myself where there's like the soul, and then it's like encompassed by a layer of emotions, and then that is encompassed by a layer of thoughts, and then that is encompassed by your skin, your body, your mind, your body. But and it just feels as though my soul inside is very still and calm. And I feel soft, I feel squishy, I feel bouncy, I feel lighter, I feel free, I feel it's almost as if all of the things I'm the same person, but it's like my whole essence has shifted into calmer waters, into a place of still calmness, instead of being enveloped by all of this noise and chaos inside of myself. Suddenly everything just, it's not as even though it's like I didn't fall away. It's as though I'm in harmony or a resonance, and like I'm still the same me, but it's like something is completely different in the way living feels. I'm not in a state of panic or anxiety or depression or sadness or loneliness. Not really. I'm just kind of here. Kind of like accepting my life for what it is, but more along the lines of just feeling fine. Kind of reminds me of like the calmness before the storm or after the storm. I hope. But it feels that way. But it's not quite an emotion. It is just a way of feeling alive. It's really hard and weird to describe, but that's how I feel. And it's ever since you could say, conquered my anxiety. I hope it lasts, because it's a really nice feeling in contrast to the utter chaos that I was living within in myself. So anyway, um, yeah, I would say that you are not your anxiety, and that your thoughts or your decisions or your desires or whatever shouldn't automatically constitute the worst possible outcome. My dad always said, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. And to an extent, I understand. And I always believed him. Naive me just believed everything my dad said, even though he wasn't even like the best person in my life. He's definitely had better advices before. So, and I believed it. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. And it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, I knew, and I know, and that there's a better way of going about life than even worrying about what the worst could be. I knew I had to stop preparing for the worst and start preparing for the best. And who says I can't hope for it either? Does that mean I'm going to have a perfect life? Who knows? But preparing for the worst is not going to get me any closer to having a better life. So I stopped it. It's a curse, really, to have to be prepared for the worst outcome, whatever it happens to be. Especially if you're trying to do better for yourself. I think the only people who need to prepare for the worst outcome are criminals and scumbags and evil people who do evil things, because then they have something to worry about. But if you're just trying to live a normal, good life, most people are just trying to get by, trying to do your thing, trying to have fun, have good friends, relationships, etc., etc. Generally speaking, you probably shouldn't be preparing for the worst. I just don't think that that's going to help. And I really think that that's where anxiety stems from, largely, is dwelling on the worst possible outcome. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Hoping for the best is a thing you won't even know about until you stop dwelling on the worst. Because it's a curse. It's this thing that keeps you stuck in stagnation. Because if you're busy preparing for the worst, you're not even going to want to take on the thing that you're wanting to do or that you have to do. Prepare for the best. And this is where I come from with flipping all of the negativity to positivity. But it takes conscious effort. It takes energy. It takes awareness. And a lot of persistence. And perseverance, I would say. I would say my middle name should be Perseverance. That's just me, though. But because it gets you far if you stay in that, I don't know, vibration or whatever of persevering. It makes a huge difference. You just persevere. I'll make a video about that later, but it's just really good to feel like you are not your anxiety, and your anxiety is just, it really kind of, there's a quote Alan Watts says, something like a good servant with a bad master. It's very applicable in terms of things like anxiety and I guess self-hatred, a lack of confidence, and all these things, where you have the power within you to change the way you see yourself. Some people word it as rewriting your narrative or your story, your script, rewriting your past, making it more palatable instead of thinking about the worst thing that ever happened to you. These are like curses that we go through. And I know that no matter how many videos I make, if somebody watches them without an open mind or an open heart and just decides that I'm talking trash or that I don't know what I'm saying, if they go ahead and do that without doing what I'm trying to say more is that if they're not willing to do the inner work or any of the shadow work or whatever they need to do, If they're not willing to sort of take control of themselves in that regard, then I know what I'm saying is just falling on deaf ears. That being said, it doesn't change how true everything I'm saying is anyways, because there are plenty of people out there who will definitely resonate with what I'm saying. I kind of forgot where I was going with that. But yeah. You have to be willing to do what it takes to take control of your mind. It's a lot of work. It doesn't have to be hard. Sometimes it is. But really it just takes a lot of persistence and time. But it's doable. I sort of pride myself in neglecting to take, things like antidepressants, medication to specifically for, dampening the depression or whatever, to feel better, to feel numb or whatever you want to call it. I never wanted to take antidepressants. I never wanted to. I did when I was a kid, and I overdosed. And then I never took them ever again. And I don't want to. But I pride myself in doing the work I needed to do anyways, without using them. I'm not suggesting that everybody should. All I'm saying is don't let medication be a crutch that you rely on for the rest of your life, because it doesn't have to be. If you do the right things in relation to taking care of yourself, your mind, body, soul, then it's definitely possible to overcome things like depression, anxiety, whatever else. It's not easy and it takes a long time, but it's doable. Stupid mosquito. Got that red sun on my face, I guess. But I don't know. I guess that's all I want to say. Really, I just wanted to talk about anxiety. Yep. Anyway, bye for now.